Hey Math 7, today we're talking about percentages of increase and decrease. So increase and decrease should be pretty self-explanatory. For example, in the blue on the left, you see that we have a tank of liquid, we'll just say it's juice, of 10 gallons of juice. And from this part here, where we start with 10 gallons and we ended with 13, that's an increase. Profound, right? On the right hand in the pink, you see that we started with 10 gallons, and from there, it became 5 gallons. So if we started with 10 and it became 5, that's a decrease. Again, shocking, right? This one's pretty easy because I made the starting value 10. So the type of problem we'll be answering is, okay, if this was 100%, because this is the amount we started with, by what percentage did we increase if we end up with 3 more? If we go from 10 to 13, what percent increase is that from 10 to 13? Or we could be saying, okay, if we started out with 10 gallons as 100%, the starting amount, and we drained all the way to 5 gallons, what percent was decreased or removed from the original amount if we go from 10 to 5? So when we're asking ourselves what's a percent of change, we're asking ourselves how much has a quantity increased or decreased as a percent of the original. So on the board here, you'll see the steps for finding the percent of change. And I'd like you to take a moment to copy these into your notes, so just pause the video here, and then we'll move on. I'm also going to add over here the actual formula for doing so make sure that you also copy this formula down. When we're finding the percent of change, we have to identify in the problem the original value and the new value. So in our example over here, I spend 10 hours doing homework on Monday. So that's my original. Right away it tells me the starting value. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. Then on Tuesday I have to spend 12 hours doing homework, and that's my new value. So again, I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to label it new. That way when I fill in my formula, I'm ready to go. The first part of the question asks, are we measuring an increase or a decrease? This should be pretty self-evident. From 10 to 12, well, 10 is smaller than 12, so we know that we're measuring an increase. Okay, so now we need to measure the percent of change from Monday to Tuesday. This is where we're going to use this formula up here, and I will explain it as we go. So we've already identified the original and the new value. Now we need to find the difference between the original and the new, and we need to make it positive if necessary. So this is the reason we have these absolute value signs here, is because whatever difference we find by subtracting the original and the new, we need to make sure that value is positive. So that's all these brackets mean. They're not scary at all. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take the original value, which is 10, and I'm going to subtract it by 12 in order to find the difference between them. So that will give me -2. But remember, I have to make that value positive. So I'm going to put these absolute value brackets around them. And then that value will be divided by the original, like we said here. So the original value is 10, so I'm going to put everything over 10. Another way of writing this so that it's simpler is just 2 over 10. Okay, so using your calculators, which you definitely may use for this assignment, you'll divide 2 by 10 and you'll get 0.2. From there, we want to convert it to a percentage, which is our last step, step 4. So we're going to go to the right 2 times, and that becomes 20%. From Monday to Tuesday, there was a 20% increase in the time that you spent doing homework. Okay, let's do another example. On Wednesday, you pet 250 dogs, and on Thursday, you only get to pet 232 dogs. So the first question right off the bat, is this an increase or a decrease? Well, obviously, 232 is smaller than 250, so we can go right ahead and say that's a decrease. Now we need to find the percent of change from Wednesday to Thursday. So following my steps, I'm going to identify the original and the new value. So my original value is 250, and 232 is my new. Then I need to find the difference between the original and the new value, making it positive if necessary. So taking our formula, we're going to subtract the original minus the new, so 250 minus 232, and that's going to be a positive number, but I'm going to go ahead and put the absolute value brackets anyway. And the original value is 250. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the difference. Starting at the top, if I subtract 250 minus 232, I will get 18. So now I have 18 divided by 250. If I divide 18 by 250, using my calculator, I will get 0.072. Well, that's not a percentage, so again, my last thing I need to do is move my decimal 2 times to the right, and I will get that this is 7.2%. So from Wednesday to Thursday, there was a 7.2% decrease in the amount of dogs that you petted.